Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting, April 28th, 2020 at 7:10 p.m. Can you please stand for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We were going to do a moment of silence, Lisa, for everyone that's passed in the town.
Okay, we'll have a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. Okay, the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies of which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Bogota Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Bogota Borough Hall, communicated by letter to the record, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Bogota, and posted on the Bogota Board of Education website. Irvin, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Alvarez? Mrs. Alvarez? Absent?
Not here.
Yeah. Mrs. Kearns?
Present.
Mrs. Lewis?
Here.
Mr. McHale?
Here.
Mrs. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mrs. Van Buren?
Present.
Ms. Montgomery?
Here.
Mrs. Coles?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Also present is Mr. Kennedy, our superintendent, Nathaniel Simon, our board attorney, Mr. Epsel is our board administrator, and Elizabeth, our board secretary. At this time, can I have a motion to open up to public comments on agenda items only?
So moved, Pat.
Second, Amanda.
Motion, second, Amanda. At this time, if anybody would like to ask a comment on agenda items only, just state your name and address. Mr. Kennedy, do we have anyone coming forward?
I'm looking to see. I don't see any hands raised. Give it a minute. Make sure everyone can hear. I don't see any hands raised.
Okay. Can I have a motion to close public comments?
So moved, Pat.
Motion,
Second, Amanda.
Pat, second by Amanda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Kennedy? Superintendent's report?
Okay. So first, I am walking in an addendum tonight, and that's going to be explained during the budget hearing. Also, just to note, items 4/28/2012 and 4/28/2013 should read approve, ratify. Those are two tuition students. Now for the update. So COVID-19 update 19, we began week 6 of remote learning this week. Governor Murphy is going to make an announcement on May 15th about what's going to happen on the final month of school.
It's a very bad background noise coming from someplace.
Is it possible that we all like mute ours, and then when we want to speak, we like raise our hand and then unmute ourselves? This way there's...
Well, I'll do my report and budget. I'm going to do my report. I'm going to mute everybody right now. Let's see if that helps as I do my report. And then I'll ask if there's any questions after my report. Okay. Can everyone hear me? Okay. So, like I've said, we just began week 6 of remote learning. Governor Murphy on May 15th is going to make an announcement about what's supposed to happen for the rest of the year. So we're going to have more information, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing and what we plan on doing. Currently, we've handed out over 400 Chromebooks and close to 20 hotspots to students. teachers have moved over to Google Classroom and are pushing out instruction online and creating new lessons and assessments daily. So we are improving our online instruction. We have created email addresses for parents to reach out for technology support and equipment. I'm very happy with the way we're handling the situation from the educational standpoint, but also from the parent side and the community side. Everyone's been reaching out and working together. This is not an ideal situation. We understand that, but I think we are doing the best that we can with what we have. And I'm happy at the direction it's going. There seems to be a lot of positive and goodwill working that way. We will continue to offer free grab-and-go meals to all children 18 and under at the drop-off center in the high school between 10 and 12 each day. So again, we've been trying to push that out, but any child that is 18 and younger, regardless if they go to our school, they could go anywhere. If they live in Bogota, they're 18 and under, they can come and get a free meal as long as the parents sign off for it. And we have qualified for that because of our free and reduced status. We started out with about 20 lunches the first week. We saw an uptick of 80 last week. So that number continues to rise. So we imagine that that's going to continue to happen. We also started providing resources and information to our families to help children get through this very unique time, providing as much resources that we can find, that we can push. There's a lot of free stuff out there on the web that everyone's doing free right now. So when we find it, we try to push it out to everyone, because at the end of the day, this is hard for everyone, but for a child who's in the classroom and taken out of that situation, it's been very hard for some of them. So we're trying to help as best as we can. On a positive note, our buildings are all getting fresh paint jobs. All deep cleaning has occurred. We're also fixing all odds and ends that come up during the year that usually we have to wait for the summertime. So again, a unique time. We're not in buildings, so we're allowed to get a lot more things done that we normally have to wait. Lastly, we have started looking into, and again, this is looking into what we have to do to continue with some of the normal end of year ceremonies. So whether that's the Week of the Arts, whether that's the award ceremonies and the sports banquets and things of that nature, anything that we normally offer, we're looking at how we can do remotely. Graduation will continue to be a question that we will not have an answer for until we are given directions. What I can tell you is that we are moving forward and planning. I'll be attending a meeting next week with other Bergen County superintendents with high schools to start talking about what we can all do so we're all on the same page. We are small, so we have a few more opportunities to do things compared to some district that graduate 500 kids. So we're going to look to see what we could do. We're going to make sure that whatever we are doing is meeting the guidelines for social distancing at the time. But, you know, a question that we keep getting is, what are we going to do? And until we're given direction from the state and the county, we're going to continue to do what we're doing right now. I'm going to unmute everybody. Anyone has any questions on that?
I have a question. With regard to,
I think the feedback is coming from Lisa because I think that her other computer might still be on.
okay.
I just muted her though on the other one.
Then I'm not sure.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Lower the volume on the other computer.
Oh, Dahlia, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, you made it.
Having a bit of technical.
Hold on one second. That could be it.
That's
Got
better.
Yes.
Yep.
Excellent.
Okay, what about these scholarships? Okay, are the students still able, are we going to be giving the scholarships out? Are they still doing that?
Yes, anything that still will be offered, we'll still have the kids are going through the process and filling out the paperwork, and students will be selected.
Oh, okay.
What is, again, a very unique time right now is we are not sure money-wise what's going to be there in a month. So anyone that's still offering scholarships, we're going to do our best, let them pick someone. If they want to put a brief, if we cannot do something live and in person, we're going to try and do some type of video that we could still recognize everyone and announce names and things of that nature.
Okay. Okay. I know a few board members and parents have been reaching out to me with regards to graduation ceremonies with ideas. So once you hear what we can do, I know a few people want to get involved. If graduation isn't going to be going off, they want to get involved. So
yeah, I imagine once we know that if we are told we cannot do a normal graduation, then you know, the principal of the high school, Kelly, will start reaching out to getting some people involved and maybe getting some committees together to talk. But with that being said, when I attended our superintendent meeting the other day, they want us all on the same page for the most part. So they don't want one town doing something that another town won't be able to do. So they're going to have more conversation about what we can do. But again, like when I attended a online webinar this week, and they're telling us they don't want teachers driving around and doing birthday things and things of that nature right now, because God forbid there's a car accident or you know, someone has to be helping with that procession, and that they prefer that we're not doing those things right now. So hopefully in a month, if everyone continues and they're flattening the curve, as they say, that we'll be able to have some more options for ourselves.
okay. Anybody else have any more questions? No?
Okay, so right now what I'm going to go right into the budget presentation. And from there, I'll open it back up. We'll open it up for discussion, I think, with everyone at the end of it. So I think everyone's pretty good now. So, but now I have to take my computer and try and I want to take control of it, Frank, and I do that. I'm going to share my screen. So when I share it, I want to share my screen.
There we go.
So if I'm doing this now,
Yep.
I'm playing it. All right, so everyone can see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Hold on, but I can't see my screen. I need to get this out of there. And I want to get this out of here. I don't want to see that. I just don't want to see that. So I want to play this. Okay, so now do you see my screen, or do you see me and my screen?
Oh,
Okay, just so I know that. That's good to know. So first, our Board of Ed's president, Lisa Coles, Vice President Amanda Montgomery, trustees Idalia Alvarez, Sabrina Kearns, Eileen Lewis, Patrick McHale, Jim Moore, Maureen Miller, and Kathy Van Buren. Some of the major drivers in a budget each year is staffing needs, curriculum requirements, capital maintenance, and capital improvements. Our contracted costs, obviously this year we're up for negotiations across all negotiating units. Special ed costs, student IEPs, legal mandates, and other unfunded mandates. So that's typically what goes into our budget. It's important for us to maintain our school system. Foundation of the budget is staffing and benefits. Small class size is what we like to keep. Maintaining special needs students in district. Safety, maintenance, and upgrades to our facilities. Technology upgrades are major priorities within the district. Some of the things that we talked about: shared guidance counselor and basic skills teacher for the elementary school. Security upgrades. We want to continue our 3 Class 3 officers. We also want to make sure we have a part-time Class 3 officer for next year in case we need to fill in gaps. Window film for all windows in areas that could be attacked with gunfire. More surveillance cameras. Two-way radios for better communication between the front desk principals and administrators, and also teachers on duty, and also a visitor background check system so that when you come into the building, you put an ID in and it checks a background. We're going to continue child study team to appropriate the number of aides and special ed teachers based on those needs. We recently did a facility audit. that came out with some recommendations: concrete sidewalks and curbs at Bixby and Steen, retaining wall and sidewalk at the high school garden area. The dumbwaiter in the high school broke. That's an expensive upgrade. And the repoint the bricks in the cupola. Our IT infrastructure and technology, more wireless access points and cabling to them. Recently, we had to purchase antivirus ransomware so someone could not come in and attack our data, which has happened in a few different public entities lately. Also, we are into an offsite backup solution where we can keep all our system backed up off-site. So if they did attack and were able to ever get through, that system would all be backed up, but the ransomware, it's just all checks and balances. Also, new Chromebook carts. We were very fortunate that we were able to hand out as many Chromebooks as we did because we've done a pretty good job of adding to our collection. Also, 5 new smart boards, and we were also talking about LED signs at the elementary school. So raising the standards and expanding opportunities. So last year we developed a curriculum develop team. I have to say it's been very successful. It was one of the major reasons why we were able to pass CUSAC this year. Curriculum is a big part of that. Right now we have a curriculum document online for all teachers that is reviewed on a monthly basis. Also, teachers have access to the documents now via Google Drive, and that format for all curricular documents is more standard. We're going to continue to partner with Byrd Community College with the early college program, and also offer kids the ability for the seal of biliteracy testing and recognition for students who are bilingual. Recently, our big initiative has been our RTI program. We want to continue in moving in that direction. Right now, we did start to see a lot of gains and strides in those areas because of the data and moving kids to reading levels. That is a major indicator of student success in the future. So right now, what we are really doing is focusing on that. They're even telling us that our Algebra 1 scores are tied to reading and writing levels in the early grade level. So it's important that we have all kids reading on grade level as they move up. Also, we're going to continue expanding our preschool expansion program. We have 6 classrooms. Next year, we will be up to 8 classrooms. So that has been moving in a very positive direction. Capital and maintenance projects and capital reserve. We will continue to maintain a healthy capital reserve for current and future improvements. For example, last couple of years, all the projects at the high school, but this year the Bixby school windows were replaced to improve safety and heating efficiency. Again, technology investments. We now are coming to an era where we don't know what next week is going to be, so technology is going to continue to be a priority for us so that we can continue with our remote learning. And also the facility audit recommendations, that really gave us a plan to start mapping out where we have to be over the next couple of years. Professionalism, again, this is all back to the RTI program. So we want to continue and pushing out our RTI program. And that again is to improve reading instruction. There is 3 tiers. Right now, we want to improve our tier 1 instruction that will help teachers in the classroom, help kids that are in front of them every day, where tier 2 and 3 is more reading specialists and things like that. So our new focus now is to give teacher strategies for kids that are right in front of them. Planning for the future, the growing population, we understand that. We did demographic studies. We have some numbers. Because of this, we are in making plans for expansion, and we're going to get into that a little bit more. Also, next year, the NJSLS standards updates. New Jersey's coming out with new standards. We partner with South Bergen Jointure, and we're going to be working with them to add these new standards into our curriculum, and that's going to be occurring over the next couple of years. Now, those standards were supposed to be approved recently. With everything going on, we don't know if that's going to be pushed back, but this, again, was what we were preparing to do. And then just talking about a little bit about these standards. Recently in math, the last couple of years, we have aligned our curriculum. So right now it is all the way from K to 10. They're all on the same curriculum, all on the same math program and visions. We're doing the same thing in science. Also with the math, it's important to note that we're picking out students that are struggling, and we're not forcing them into the Algebra 1 class as an 8th grader and a 9th grader. We're giving them more support so that they could take it, and when they're taking the class, they have a better background of it. In science, we started moving in that same direction. Next year, we started the Elevate Science program. We updated last year to 7th grade, so they had a clear pattern from 6th grade to 7th grade, because it was new for the 6th graders 2 years ago. And now we're going to do it with 8th grade, biology, and chemistry. Also, we're going to continue partner with early college dual enrollment programs at Bergen Community College with our AP Psych classes and our physics classes. And we are also looking to get a few more approved from there from chemistry. Social studies, this with the new standards, the LGBTQ and disabilities mandate. We have to make sure that those standards are being pushed out. We planned on working on that this summer. Also in English language arts, again, RTI, reading, we're really starting to focus on the philosophy of teaching reading and making sure we're doing the proper thing all the way through. Again, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 for RTI is important to us when we recognize students are struggling, and giving teachers the ability to help those students while in class with their other students. So that's some of the things we're focusing on. 21st century life and careers. This is something that we really started looking into, career technical education. We have been looking at some things that we can do online right now because of what the situation is. We're also looking at a credit recovering learning academy. Sometimes students transfer into our district and they are behind the 8 ball. So we're looking at ways that we can help catch kids up that want to be in school, instead of saying, well, you're 18, 17 years old and you're 30 credits short. It's going to be really tough for you to graduate because of circumstances. Visual and performing arts, we're always going to make that a priority. Art and music and instrument is taught in all 3 schools. Drama teacher elective is offered in the high school, and plays are put on, performances are put on, so continue doing that stuff. Also, Week of the Arts is a very big week, and like I said earlier, we're going to continue trying to put on as much normalcy as we can moving forward. PE and gym, we meet all that we need to from a state minute-wise with health and physical education and recess. But we're also looking to change the model in the middle school and high school and give kids more of an offering during the year, instead of saying, well, this marking period is volleyball. We want to give the kids 6 or 7 different options, and get kids in yoga and weight and strength training and a few other different things. And world language, we were purchasing new textbooks, but we're waiting in the upper grades in the high school. But again, we're waiting to see where we end up going moving forward. And then these last couple of slides just really break down exactly what the budget and the summary of revenue is, and what it is from year to year. Again, these will be changing, which I'm going to explain moving forward. But most of the revenue is the tax levy, and state aid is another big part of it. We will continue looking for grants, and then the expenditures of where most of the money is being spent by line item. All right, and all this is going to be up on our website tomorrow, so anyone that wants to really dig into it and ask any more specific questions, it will be available to them. So these are just pie charts from the other charts from the pages before. So originally, what I need people to understand is that our budget, we start working on it in December, and the county approves it. It was approved in March, actually right before we left school. So originally we were looking to raise taxes $88 for the year, which would have came out to $7.33 for a house assessed at $263,188. But recently, what has been going on economically and in all communities and school districts, we sat down and talked about what can we do to alleviate that. So to alleviate some of these cost-saving measures in the past, we participate in co-ops. We are always constantly looking for grants. We recycle and garbage services through the Bogota PTW. Gasoline and fuel purchase through the Borough of Ridgefield. We partake in the E-rate, South Bergen jointure for transportation. So we try to work with as many districts and entities as we can to help take down the cost of things. So this was our original 2021 budget summary. We had some salary increases because contracts are up. We had some new positions as a basic skills teacher and a counselor for the elementary grades. Our projected medical health renewal was 7% over this year's costs. We want to continue the implementation of district Chromebooks and smartboard initiatives. We want to continue our curriculum writing and development. We're looking into temporary classroom units outside of the buildings, that if we needed to move some smaller instructional classes where students are only in there for a period, like ESL and some special ed classes, that can use small units to open up some other classroom for us, that would give us opportunities to add grade levels if need be because of expansion from the Riverfront project. New textbooks and online licensing purchases, new preschool expansion. We were going to continue our wellness center, which has been very helpful during this time because she's still reaching out to students and touching base with them, and they're still keeping their counseling going on a weekly basis and offering it to anyone else that needs it. Continue with our class 3 officers, and then also capital outlay projects to upgrade IT infrastructure, security, and site improvements. So this is what we were talking about before. So our problem is this: we have to vote on this budget, okay? But a couple of weeks ago, we started talking about, you know, what's going on and what would be best for what we're doing in Bogota and what we could do to help the community as a board and as a school community as well. So what we are asking the board to do tonight is to vote down this county approved budget, because we have to show that we presented it and then it was voted down. We just can't take it off there. We just can't change it. It has to be voted down before it could be changed. So items 32 and 33 are the current budget. What we are asking the board to do is to look at this and say, okay, well, we don't want to increase taxes next year. So if we can eliminate about $300,000 from the budget, which we've been working to do so, we would have a zero tax increase, and actually it would be a $37 credit to the homeowner for each house assessed at $263,188. So the addendum would reflect a new budget. Now, in the process of the old budget and the new budget, the Masonic Temple became available, which we've been trying to purchase. So again, that was not approved on our original budget, but we have to include it on this new budget. That would come from capital reserve. So to make it all work, the projects in capital reserve that we budgeted for this year, we can keep in this budget, but we don't have to do them all. We will pick the ones that we feel are necessary, are important to us and each building, that what is needed. The rest of that will go back into capital reserve. And then how we can hold off on doing that is some of these new positions like the guidance counselor and the basic skills teacher, we would hold off on until we see what our new current reality is going to be. So right now, we are kind of in a holding pattern about what is going on, what money we're going to be getting from the state, what money we can spend, where we're going to have to reappropriate our funds, because if remote learning continues, and you can hear it from a million different people and where it's going to be, we don't know, but we have to be prepared if it does continue into a new year, or this is a new norm, that every flu season, until they have this figured out, that we're going to be doing this. So at this point in time, this is what me and Irfan worked on, and we felt after talking to the auditor and the board attorney is how we could do it. So we don't want to put the money into the budget. We want to take it out and instead of taking it out from capital reserve to add to it, so we're not putting ourselves in a hole in the next year or two, because then we would be short. We would look to add those programs as we can, like for example the basic skills teacher. When we get our Title I money, if we can't be in the building for Title I in the summer, we could look to reappropriate that and pay a basic skills teacher. So there's a lot of different things that we're looking at. As Irfan likes to say, he every day it's a new day, because something new's coming out about what we're doing and how we have to handle this, because we just don't know. So we just felt that this was our best case scenario. So items 32 and 33 are the current budget that the county approved that has a budget increase. The addendum, which we feel is a better budget for Bogota, will have a zero tax increase, and actually will pay $37 back to the taxpayer for this upcoming year. Let me see if I can stop sharing. So I guess if there's any questions, I can open it up to the board right now.
Anybody have any questions?
Don't, thank you.
No.
No?
Nope.
I think that's a first, giving money back.
Yes, nice.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, if we have nothing else on that, do we take questions from the public now on that, or at the end? I would assume public comments, right?
Yeah, probably right now would be best.
Okay. So if there's any questions from the public, we'll take them now on the hearing of the budget. You could see them coming forward, right, Mr. Kennedy?
Yes, hold on. Yes,
Danielle has
I
her
see.
hand up.
Yep, I'm going to allow her to talk right now.
Okay.
Hello.
State your name and address.
Hi, good evening. Danielle Feedy, 178 Larch Avenue, Bogota. Thank you for that explanation. It was a really good update on what's going on at the Board of Education. I guess I wasn't really following what you were saying. You were saying basically you're recommending that the board vote down the current budget, but will you be reintroducing a different budget? And can you give a quick summary on the cost savings or the cost increases due to the current remote learning scenario? And then I just wanted to put in a plug for the birthday rides, but I guess I'll do that later because that's not part of the budget process.
Okay. First question is, yes, we have an addendum in that's right behind this that will have those new budget figures where the tax levy, there will be zero increase. And to do that, we were introducing some new positions this year that we're going to hold off and wait on. A basic skills teacher and a guidance counselor that's going to be able to free us up some money there. From a remote learning experience right now, we're not, believe it or not, teachers have not been calling out sick, so we're saving on subs. We're saving on busing, officiating for all our sports and things like that. So there are some savings there. We actually have the auditor is going to be doing a audit very soon to tell us exactly where we are, so that we can look to plan what the surplus is and what we know what we have, so we can plan. And was there the third question too?
I don't know.
That was it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Hold on. I see Mike Connors just got here a little late, but he has a question. Mike Connors, right on time.
He's muted.
I just unmuted him. No, he can talk. Oh wait, hold on. Wait. Yeah, Mike Connors, can you hear us? Because I unmuted you. I have Mike Connors unmuted. I don't know. I did see a question, what will the Masonic Temple be purchased for? There's a number of different things that we could do with it. Obviously, the most important thing is going to see where we are with student enrollment in the next year. But what is good that is if we have that building, we will have different options. Career technical building was something that we discussed. So there are a couple of different things that we would like to do with it. But this next year is going to tell us what we have to do with it, I believe.
Mike typed his
Okay, I
question.
see. Mike typed his question?
Mm-hmm. There's a couple questions in the chat room.
Yeah, I just answered the one about the temple. I see Antoinette has her hand up. Let me mute Mike and then.
Q&A, Mike wrote his.
What, can you read it to me? Because I can't see it.
Yeah. Stipends for the spring, are they being returned?
No, the governor came out with a executive order that we should be paying all stipend positions for the rest of this year. I see Antoinette's hand up. Allow to talk. Antoinette, can you hear me? Antoinette.
Mr. Kennedy?
There you go.
Yes.
Oh, hi, guys.
Oh.
So, Antoinette Ramirez, 98 Queen Anne Road. I really wanted to join tonight, of course, to hear the whole meeting, but also to take a minute for two things. One, as someone who works in the district, to say thank you. We left school March 13th and never once had to worry about a paycheck. And so that's huge. So I want to say thank you. And then as a parent, there were two things I wanted to bring up. One was, especially from, I'll start with the elementary side. My son's teacher, I mean, all the teachers are really just doing such an incredible job. This is so new, so scary, so many things to everyone, but the teachers are incredible. And even though I know they can sign off at, 12:40, not be in the hangout anymore and not have to answer questions, there has never been a time where I have emailed the teacher and waited more than an hour for a response. And I'm talking 6 o'clock at night sometimes when I'm working with my son who gave me a hard time during the day. And so I just really wanted to, say that publicly. And the other thing is also the high school teachers. Some of them have made it a point to email the parents to give a schedule for the week so we can follow up with our teenagers who may or may not want to always do the work. And so, again, I just want to say thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone, let me see if I can get Mike Connors back on. Mike Connors, can you hear us? He's, I see him in our box. He's not muted. Just type in your question, Mike, because I don't know why, but we see you in our box, but you're not muted. Any other questions about the budget at this point in time?
He said he's good. He wrote, and I'm good.
Okay, let me just see. I don't see anyone else with a hand up.
No.
Okay, if anyone else didn't get a hand up or had a tough time, just type it in and we'll get back to it.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to move on to the approval of minutes. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll move, Pat.
Pat?
Maureen, second.
Maureen, second? Okay, these are approval minutes for March 10th work session, open and closed, and March 31st, regular meeting open. Any questions or comments?
I do. On March 31st, I did second Kathy's motion at the beginning of the meeting. It wasn't recorded, but I did second it. Because everybody was talking over me. I probably should have made a point to let you know that I did second it, but I did second it.
Lizzie, I believe she listened to the minutes today with Irfan. And as far as I know, they didn't hear anything, that no second motion was made. So, Nathaniel?
Everyone was talking over me, and you know, I probably should have made a point that, you know, I made a motion, and you know, but I just want to say I did make the motion.
Pat saying he made the motion, I think it should be noted.
Nathaniel, what do we do in this point with this?
Well, I know that I listened to it more than once. I know Irfan and Damien and others have listened to it. It's possible it's just not on there.
You were the one that talked over. You were the one that talked over me.
Right.
Let Nathaniel speak, please.
No, I hear what you're saying. And I think that it really is irrelevant because the motion was ruled out of order. But if you want in today's minutes to reflect that Mr. McHale noted that he felt he tried to make a second, that could be reflected in tonight's minutes.
Okay.
But the minutes were prepared based on what everyone heard at that time. You know, that's that, but I hear what you're saying, and I think it should be reflected in tonight's minutes that Mr. McHale has stated that he believes he made a second.
Okay.
So may I just for clarification, that'll be a correction to the March 31st minutes or included in tonight's minutes?
Again, the minutes were prepared based on what professionals who took the minutes heard. So, I mean, it would need a motion with a majority of the board voting to change anything that was prepared, or it could just be reflected in tonight's minutes, which would be my recommendation that it be reflected in tonight's minutes.
Well, I'm asking for the minutes then of March 31st to be amended and that we vote on them as amended. As we do with other things when we amend them when there's errors or omissions. We do that all the time.
Well, again, whether it's an error or an omission, it's hard to tell. Again, if you are going to make that notation, it's got to be made clear that that motion was out of order, whether it was firsted or seconded. And it was never recognized by the chair. The chair never recognized the motion, never acknowledged a second, and never called for any kind of vote. So the motion that's being made by Ms. Van Buren, if you could note that, Liz, is to, she's moving that the minutes be of March 31st be amended. To reflect that Mr. McHale seconded that motion. So that would require a second.
A second.
Thank you.
And then what has to happen is we take a roll call just on that amendment first before we vote on the other parts of that's already a pending motion. That's an amendment to that one motion. So Mr. Irfan or Liz, someone has to call the roll on just the amendment.
Can you clarify what the amendment is that we're?
It says, I made a motion at the end of my statement. Pat seconded it. It's on page 2. The end of the paragraph. Pat wasn't heard because there was a lot of noise in the tape. Pat is saying he did make the motion. So I'm asking that the minutes be amended to reflect the fact that after I made my motion that Pat made a second.
But originally you were saying that Adalia seconded you. Now it's Pat?
No, Adalia seconded me on something else, another meeting. Pat was on this one. Adalia is reflected in the March 10th, I believe, minutes. When I made a motion March 10th, Adalia seconded me, that's in those minutes. On March 31st, when I read the statement, that's when Pat seconded me.
And just for clarification, could you tell us what that motion was that you made after your statement, just so we're clear on that again?
That was the issue on the filling of the vacancy of the seat. And I felt that since it was done improperly, in my opinion, we did not follow policy, that the seat was still open, and I nominated Charlie Severino to fill the seat. And Pat made a second. At this point, it wasn't voted on, but it is what happened, and we don't want to have the minutes not reflect what the truth is. So that's all I'm asking.
I just want to be clear. It wasn't voted on because there was a ruling that the motion was out of order. So whether it was moved or you represented to the board that you were going to make a statement. That was what you were permitted to do. You made a statement, but then you turned it into a motion before there was even a roll call for the attendance of the board meeting to be officially started, which you would not allow the roll call to be held. You insisted on making a statement prior to the meeting being fully called to order. I ruled the motion out of order. The president never recognized it. We never recognized the second, and therefore the minutes do not reflect the second because it was never heard. Now, again, Mr. McHale is saying he did second it. I mean, I'm certainly not in a position to say he didn't, but it's not audible. It's just not audible at all.
Well,
and it was never recognized by the chair.
All right. As a point, it was a privileged motion. I was entitled to make my statement and so forth when I did. Additionally, the reason I did do that, as a clear explanation for that, is that once we did the roll call would have included Mr. Moore. My contention is that Mr. Moore was improperly back on the returned to a seat on the board. So to have a roll call to include Mr. Moore and then make an issue out of it was sort of putting the cart before the horse. Hence my statement and my motion beforehand. I'm just asking that the minutes be amended to include that Pat made the second. I think that's
okay.
pretty
Does
simple.
anyone have any other questions about it?
Nope.
Okay, call the roll.
For the amendment, Mrs. Alvarez,
Yes.
Mrs. Kearns,
No.
Mrs. Lewis,
No. Amazing.
Mr. McHale,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
No.
Mr. Moore,
No.
Mrs. Van Buren,
Yes.
Ms. Montgomery,
No.
Mrs. Coles.
No.
We
Guys are
have
amazing.
6 votes.
Guys, they're amazing.
So now you have to go back to the main motion, please, and call the main motion on the 3 sets of minutes that were moved and seconded.
The original motion, or anybody will move or second it now?
It was already moved and seconded, and then Trustee Van Buren made a motion to amend. That was defeated, so now they're voting on the main motion.
Okay, Mrs. Alvarez,
Yes.
Mrs. Kearns,
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. McHale,
I recuse on the 10th and no on the 31st.
thank you. Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
I recuse on the 10th and yes on the 31st.
thank you. Mrs. Van Buren,
Yes on the 10th, no on the 31st.
thank you.
And if I may say one thing, in all of my years on the board, I've never
This is in the middle of a vote. You don't get.
Can we vote, please, Kathy? Kathy, can we proceed
Kathy,
with
you
the
can say it after the vote.
And Nathaniel, put a plug in it.
Kathy, please?
Yes, yes, go right ahead.
Kathy,
I
please.
said go
We
ahead.
continue with the vote. Thank you.
Ms. Montgomery,
Yes.
Mrs. Coles.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to policy, please. 428-2001 to 428-2010. Can I have a motion?
Motion, Amanda.
Amanda, motion. Second?
Second, Sabrina.
Seconded by Sabrina. Any discussion? No discussion. Irving, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Alvarez,
Yes.
Mrs. Kearns,
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. McHale,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Van Buren,
Yes.
Ms. Montgomery,
Yes.
Mrs. Coles.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We'll move on to education, 428-2011 to 428-2018. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Move. Second, Amanda.
Amanda, any discussion? No discussion. Irving, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Alvarez,
Yes.
Mrs. Kearns,
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. McHale,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Van Buren,
Yes.
Ms. Montgomery,
Yes.
Mrs. Coles.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We'll move on to personnel, 428-2019 to 428-2020. Can I have a motion?
So moved, Jim.
Second?
Second, Amanda.
Second by Amanda. Any discussion? No discussion. Irving, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Alvarez,
Yes.
Mrs. Kearns,
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. McHale,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Van Buren,
Yes.
Ms. Montgomery,
Yes.
Mrs. Coles.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We'll move on to finance, 428-2021 to 428-2033. Can I have a motion, please?
I would
Amanda.
ask that, excuse me, point of order. I would ask that 32, did you get to 32 and 33?
Yeah, can we pull them as
Yeah,
separate
you
votes?
have to vote on those separately.
Okay. So 428-2021 to 428-2031.
31.
31.
Okay, and we'll vote on 32 and 33 separately. Irving, can you call the roll, please?
Wait a
Uh,